Welcome to this edition of Wake and Bake News, and I'm your host, Shampoo VTA, who can now speak out loud because Nana is off at a physical therapy thing with my husband. Workmen are outside. They immediately, because our neighbor is a contractor, and he was already working on the patio, they immediately started shoring up the corner, and I'll show you some video from that right here. Thank you for worrying about us. That was really nuts. So let's talk about what happened real quick. Let me reach for my peep. Oh, where'd the peepee go? My peepee. Let's try this thing. See if its batteries are working. Okay, so, oops, the bottom fell down. We're sleeping away. We had put Nana to bed and we tried to watch a movie while I was uploading video. It turns out when I'm uploading video, we can't watch movies. They stall. Like an hour movie took 2 hours because it's like loading. My husband was a little frustrated with me, but you know, not real bad. Just, oh, are you uploading something? You know. So we watched Fistful of Dynamite, which was actually a really interesting movie. It kind of made a hero out of a rapist dude, but I mean, he was like a nice rapist, so it was okay. It was a good movie. Very long, affectionate looks at each other, sort of a bromance, you know, between an Irish bomber and this Mexican or Hispanic, you know, during the revolution, during the Mexican Revolution. He's like a bandito, and he has family members that work with him doing this, and he wants to rob this bank. And, you know, he doesn't realize that the Irish guy he's fallen in with, who's like a Unabomber kind of guy, has already got plans to hit the same bank with a bunch of other revolutionaries and stuff. That was a pretty good movie. Uh-oh. It's telling me it's not happy. I don't think it wants to work. Nope, I gotta charge it. Ugh, shuckums. That's what I don't like about these things. Babysitting a battery. I was using the bong. Okay. So, of course, the first story I want to talk about is our own. And, like I've said, Ventura County Star is now owned by Gannett, and Gannett is a big corporation that just bought up a bunch of local papers that were failing because of the rise of new media. Okay, so the Gannett Corporation runs USA Today, and they want to get a hold of the Chicago Tribune. They want to get a hold of the Tribune Network, which I believe maybe LA Times might be part of. But they have their eyes set on all of these things. And they're cutting staff, and then they're having the bigger papers that are far away from these small towns help to investigate stories.
Use the restroom?
Yeah, go right ahead. Help to investigate stories and stuff like that. So basically they cut staffing at the local papers, and then everything's kind of done like robo, you know. Okay, so our story is no different. It turns out that when I was walking around in the middle of the night looking at the crash scene and all the police and fire people, there were no reporters there. The firemen took the pictures. So I'll show you some of the pictures here. And the report is literally verbatim from what the firemen had found out. They're really the reporters, not the newspaper. I had to apologize to one of the work guys because he caught me. I mean, it smells like weed up here. I can't escape it. I couldn't use the vaporizer because it was dead. I'm like, I'm sorry. I was trying to medicate while she was gone. Like, Oh, sorry, my vaporizer battery was dead. Okay. Not that I should apologize, but it's kind of like, I know people have, opinions, which we're going to talk about, and they're very nice. They're very polite, very keep to themselves and stuff, very professional. But I have to apologize. I know that people have feelings, and I don't want to be rude. Okay, so I'm certainly not trying to disrespect my mother-in-law, but I have to have my own meds. Thank you. Okay. So as you can see from the pictures, those are the pictures that the firemen took. So let's look at the story. It says, no one injured when car slams into Ventura house. That's a headline written by a person or a robot. It says by staff reports. Okay. Staff reports, the staff didn't report this, the fire department did. I mean, I don't want to bust your bubble here, but this is what I'm talking about. This is an algorithm that just kind of does this. They turn it into the Ventura County Star through like a release, and then the Ventura County Star just sort of takes that release and writes it up as a story, like in their own words. Like when you were a little kid and you had to write a book report, like in your own words, okay? So they didn't do the footwork on this. The fire department and the police did, okay? And this is what I'm talking about, where our newspapers are becoming robots. There's no kid reporter running out there in the middle of the night with a hat turned up and a flash camera going, all right, hold right there. Remember there's a movie called The Ghost of Mr. Chicken with Don Knotts, and that's what he's doing. He's a cub reporter, wannabe cub reporter running around this town trying to find a story that's going to make him famous. They don't do that anymore. Get it? I mean, think about, I'm looking at the mic. Again, that's stupid. Okay, remember that there's like there was a movie called, oh shit, the name escapes me. But there's a guy, dude, he's a reporter from New York. He's working like in some Western town, Western community, and a dude gets trapped in some sort of an Indian cave, that the family was giving tours for, and they had like a gift shop and stuff, right? So this guy's caught in a cave in, and the reporter's all, because he's from New York, he's wiring the story back to New York, he's puffing it up. And then when it looks like they can rescue the guy early, he's like, no, man, don't do that. I want you to go in this other way, because he knows it would make the story last longer. And then the dude fucking dies of pneumonia, and it's his fault. Oh, it's called The Big Circus. Okay, and it's his fucking fault. And he was the one that drummed it all up. Well, this is kind of the same idea, except that the newspaper man doesn't come out here and actually go out and report the story and talk to the local sheriff and drum up the story that way. They're not even here anymore. You're the one who's writing this, and then they're just reprinting it, basically. So that's kind of what I thought this was a good opportunity to point out what I'm saying about. This is just sort of a fire person, police blotter, the story that happened to our house. It's not something that you should go, well, here's an example of the problems. No, man, that's not what this is. This is who would have thought that some kids would have been racing up and down our street on whatever they were on and then freak out. And who knows if that's even their car. It wasn't stolen. It could be their dad's car, or something like that. And if that's true, then, that was the day that these kids' lives turned around. Because those idiots could have killed themselves. And that was much more what I was concerned with, not them standing out in front lying to us. I was more like, you could actually be hurt. Because they're kind of having this double conversation. They're like, oh no, he was a passenger, but I was just on the street and saw what happened. And, and I'm like, well, whatever, you're an adult. You're going to choose whatever you're going to do, but you guys might actually be hurt, And then, the other guy who said he wasn't the driver kept saying, I don't know what happened. I don't know what happened. It was like they were having a double conversation. Like he was apologizing to his friend. He almost fucking killed him. And then he had to also, so he was like he was wearing these two masks when he was speaking to me. And I was like, okay, whatever you think is important to you, but you're gonna, like, I was trying to tell him, calm down, dude, it's only an accident. I should have said, you don't need to lie, man. You know, there's things called insurance and everything, but trying to get away with it scot-free is just like silly, because they're gonna just make it worse on you if they catch you. So the police dealt with all that stuff, and that's more like insurance deals with that. The insurance pays for it, and then they go after them. But that's really the interesting thing I wanted to point out about the story that appeared in the paper. The fire department did all that. And the lady fireman in the picture was so funny. She was very kind. They were all very, very super professional. The police were super, very kind and professional because, we're the innocent victims, And they started out with the young men very nice, but as the lies compounded and their stories didn't add up, nice turned to not nice, and then to maybe some assertive yelling. And you know how cops are. And there was one police officer following them around out front because one of them was looking for his wallet he lost either in the car or the crash or something. And he looked like he wanted to eat him. He just was watching him. And all I could think was, dude, don't take it home with you, man. Don't take your stress home with you. It just eats you up inside, How do you think some of us become medical marijuana patients? Doing stuff like that. Don't take it home with you, Have at least part of it be an act, It's okay to give the nasty looks, but don't let it be too real because it starts to really eat you up inside, So hopefully those young men's lives will change from this moment on, and they'll find out that they could have fast and furious themselves to their own grave, like they were in a hurry to be a pallbearer at their own funerals, So maybe they had angels in the outfield yesterday to kind of save their ass, because if they had hit the cars, they would have been killed. And they hit the wall next door with such impact that it just shot rocks like a cannon, like big bricks and like 2 or 3 bricks stuck together like part of the wall, and sprayed it across the houses. And luckily, it just broke a little part of the window and didn't damage a neighbor's house. It didn't hit hardly, I think a little bit the car, so I got to go get this. I'm fielding the calls while they're at her appointment. I'm liking my hair lately. I'm just real happy with it. I'm liking the gray and stuff. I like what the gray is doing. Okay, stop talking about yourself. Hurry up, medicate, because you got to make the house smell okay before she comes back. Okay. Deadpool. I know I should get a sploofy or something, but we're just kind of doing this at the end of the month right now, so our finances are personally, Okay, so next story I want to get into is this one at LA Weekly. It's called "Black Suspects Are Cited for Pot Nearly 4 Times as Often as Whites in LA." So this is again talking about racial disparity that's like in marijuana arrests and drug-related arrests. And certainly, I guess in New York, it's still going on, even though it was supposed to have gone down. And it has gone down, but not as much as it should, And this kind of goes into the next story I wanted to touch on, which is the marijuana DUI bill that was shelved in California because it's not scientific. Some of the reason the police officers are against this is because they can't get their DUI money out of this. There's no, they say that it's not safe. True. But let's face it, if they had a way to test it, they would be far more enthusiastic because there would be money attached to that, okay? So when they do pull somebody over, they can take their property. They can search their property, which they certainly were very not super poking into the guy's car, but to some degree poking into the guy's cars last night when they crashed in the house. But when you crash into the house, perhaps someone should poke through your car. That would be a different circumstance than randomly pulling people over on the road and, trying to get an excuse to bring a drug dog or something, particularly if they don't actually have anything. Like one video I showed recently where there were cookie crumbs or some kind of crumbs in a bag, and the police officer swore up and down it was marijuana, made him open the car, look down, and realize they were cookie crumbs, said, okay, shut it. There's no or nothing. No, it's because of the window. The way the window was tinted, it's the window's fault. So, it's a fine line between social responsibility and public safety and trying to be dominant over people and turn this into a cash cow. So apparently marijuana DUI bill was shelved like yesterday because, of course, of the report that came out from AAA saying that just saying a specific amount of nanograms is a way to detect if someone is under the influence is not scientific and would produce too many false positives. And then you have, on the other hand, many police officers, including our own, police chief that I'm going to talk about, Ken Corney, who have all these stories and anecdotes coming out of Colorado and Washington saying that car crashes have increased. Well, I don't think it was pot that they found on the roof last night. I think it was, because they were talking about needles. Okay, and but my hearing isn't fabulous. And nobody told us directly what was happening. So all I'm trying to say is that, if they had a medical card, they probably wouldn't have been throwing their stash on the roof, So some of the reasons why the police are dead set against this is because there isn't this super easy roadside test like they have with alcohol. And I'm saying it doesn't matter if we have self-driving cars on their way. And I know certainly everybody in this neighborhood suddenly started talking about how unsafe this road is and how much traffic is now in the city and how much it's becoming more like LA than Ventura. And this is not the reason why people moved here and raised their families here for the last 30 years. Okay? And self-driving cars could regain control of our city streets so that we don't have some guy trying to fast and furious his way to, his funeral because he's late for the eulogy or something, So then we're gonna, and that's from Los Angeles DUIAattorney.com, marijuana DUI bills shelved. So then I'm going to go into this. It appeared in the Ventura County Star, once again, owned by Gannett, who also owns USA Today. And this is basically a political piece. Ventura Police Chief becomes face of opposition to legalization of recreational marijuana. As president of the California Police Chiefs Association, Ventura Police Chief Ken Corney has garnered a lot of media attention for the groups and his own opposition to a November ballot measure that seeks to legalize recreational marijuana use in California. Now, some people have felt that some of the sheriffs in California are doing political grandstanding because they know that they're not going to be able to necessarily beat this with money, but what they can do is this is red meat for their constituency that is really concerned about, drugs and drug crime and stuff like that. And he he's sort of standing on that soapbox, is what I've heard. Like, um, I think it was either Gavin Newsom or it was Rowan Bacher who said this about Ken Corney. He's kind of using this as an opportunity to say, "Hey, look at me! I'm dead set against this," because he's got his own local elections he's got to worry about. Get it? And he's got to keep his, because he's the head of the police association, he's got to keep all of his people happy with the rhetoric that they want to hear. So there's a lot of things going on here. And I want to say, the police officers last night acted very professionally, and I thanked them, and I said that I have complained about the police, but this was an excellent reflection on their behavior. And that's all I ask for. And I don't think I'm being unreasonable. And last night I was a citizen, but according to this guy, I've already made a poor choice. These are people who have already demonstrated poor judgment in this area. In other words, by choosing marijuana or something like that. Okay, and I'm like, because he doesn't like the marijuana shops, and I'm like, how do you think you get people out of the black market? There, at some point, you have to give them the opportunity to try to go on the straight and narrow. And then if there's a problem, you send in guys with clipboards and ties. And I'll tell you what, they're a lot scarier than you are, because they can charge you a lot more money and destroy your business and get you in court in a very different way, in a financial way, not like with the police officers. So you bring in the guys that go, like the inspector that came and told us we have to make sure the building's shored up. That's the guy who goes and deals with the people that are doing things wrong. A guy with a clipboard and a tie, because that guy is a hell of a lot more scary than these police officers. That scares normal people. Okay, so I recommend you go check out this entire article, and it basically sums up what's been going on and how Ken Corney has been kind of coming out, and there's been statements from him and his point of view on intoxication, and everything like that. And you'll begin to see why all of Ventura County has bans, except for Ojai. Why the sheriffs in Ojai went after the collective up there so quickly and are accusing them of money laundering and ripping off people and all kinds of stuff. You begin to see what's going on. It's partially, and please also keep in mind that the Ventura County sheriffs murdered a man on his property and did an assessment before the raid. It was like a $2 million property or something like this. And then they did a raid saying he had marijuana plants. They didn't say who they were. He didn't know who the hell was coming on his property. He drew a gun, started fighting back. They shot and killed him, and there was nothing on his property. That was a money grab, straight out. And that's the kind of thing that needs to end. We can't have the police assessing people's property and then trying to connive ways to get it for themselves. That is not going to be okay. That should put a shiver in every property owner's fucking back. Who knows what they'll decide to go peeking around your business for, So I'm going to end on that one. Definitely check out the Ventura County Star story on Ken Corney and the California Police Chiefs Association, because they're going to be the loudest detractors for AUMA, the Adult Use of Marijuana Act, which will be on the November ballot. And they're going to try to talk about fear-mongering things. They're going to talk about traffic accidents and nonsense like this. And honestly, all you're going to have to do is go, really? Well, then why is the city council telling some brewery downtown that they need to come up with a Ventura brew, like a special Ventura beer, okay? Because it seems like on one hand the town is saying, here, have a drink, and on the other hand they're going, but shame on the marijuana. How are these activities different? I just don't get it at all. And I'm not even talking about the massage parlors that are all over the place here, and a lot of other really weird, sketchy kind of little things that people don't seem to talk about. And if a white male's going to do it, it seems to be okay. You know, there's some like strip clubs. There's a lot of things that are like creepy and sketchy, and yet those are perfectly permitted. But a person like me is being looked down on by this guy? Come on. Not cool. I don't care what your opinion is. Get the hell out of the way. Okay. So you stay high and goodbye, and I'm going to try. And we're getting through this whole excitement. Nana's got so much on her plate right now. She's just basically leaving this to Curtis and the insurance and the contractors and stuff to take care of, because she's got to take care of herself. And that's her main job right now. And stressing her out with paperwork and stuff is, we're going to try to keep that to an absolute minimum so that she can concentrate on recuperating so she can start getting back to her life. You know what I mean? All right, so I'm going to let you go. Adios.